Hello and welcome to another drive-in double feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is a podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/drive-in double feature podcast. Just some fun content that we give to you patrons out there as a thank you for supporting us out there, which helps us have more access to more movies so that we could talk about. But we just do that as a thank you for us. But if you choose not to, don't worry. It does not affect any regular content.
Mm-hmm.
But today, Drive-in Double Feature is going to the movies.
Yeah. Woo. We went to the movies.
We went to the movies and we wanted to talk about this movie. We were so excited about it. But Nathan, this is going to be a very special episode of Drive-in Double Feature that we're going to get into in just a second. But let me say what we were going to talk about, or we planned to talk about. And that is 2023's Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan, we went over to the local cinema, and nobody would stop talking throughout the entire movie. Like, I really was very interested to see this movie, and I was like, oh, this could be a really fun time and everything. And you know what? It could have been, maybe. I don't know, but
yeah,
I could never ever enjoy the movie at any time.
No, I felt the same way. I think personally, trying to look at the movie now, be like, I probably wouldn't have loved this movie. I probably wouldn't even have really liked it. But I think my reaction after the movie was so like angry from like the audience and everything that I can't really properly even like talk about this movie. There are moments where the theater quieted down. I got into it, kind of focused on it. But like overall, it was just such a like a ruining experience. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. For me, I have so many awful experiences with movies that it's like I know like the whole part about going to like the movies. I do enjoy doing it, and the last couple of times you and I have went together, we've had a very legitimate like good time watching it. But this one, it was just like so bad. And like for instance, like you and I, we saw Top Gun Maverick, and there was a guy that would not shut up for like the first 5 minutes of the movie, and like we all ignored it, just hoping he would stop. But it's like this guy just like, oh, you guys are here for my mystery science theater commentary, like for this whole movie, because he was cracking dumb jokes and stuff. And finally I had to like turn around and just like, I literally said, can you stop? Like,
and you know what he did, and we had
to his credit, he did stop.
Yeah, because I've definitely shushed people in a theater before, and then like it'll be like 10 minutes of silence, and then they'll go back to talking, kind of deal. No, I mean that's the thing. Most of my theater experiences are pretty good. I go to the theater quite a bit. I usually go about like three times a month, maybe 2 or 3 times a month, and then I see multiple movies. It's just something I really enjoy doing. I like seeing movies on the big screen and everything. But every once in a while, you'll get a showing that is just like, God, this is horrible. This is horrible. But this one was like on another level. I really think this is one of the worst, and just on a lot of different things. So, Cocaine Bear, right? Hard R movie. You can tell from the title, it's called Cocaine Bear. Guess what? There were 3 children in this showing with their family, like a baby, a toddler, and then maybe like a 5 or 6 year old. And I saw them and I was like, oh my God, are you serious right now?
Yeah. And I mean, this is a rated R movie, lots of violence, lots of mauling from this bear, and plenty of drug references, cursing, that type of thing. So it definitely not a kid friendly type of movie, but some people, they just don't care when they do that sort of thing. And I don't know. I think the biggest problem, though, honestly, and this might even be a little bit of the movie's fault,
Mhm.
this movie was exceptionally quiet. Like there is so
Yes.
many quiet moments. Like you, if it was had like a loud soundtrack or score or lots of action scenes or something, I think it would have covered it a lot better. But there
Yeah.
wasn't.
No, it was actually pretty quiet and pretty talky, which I mean, it's a comedy, right? Like it really wanted to focus on the jokes. But I think this movie, we talked about this. We think this movie was promoted more as a horror movie, which of course it has horror elements. But like when you go see a horror movie, you expect to hear some noises in the audience, right? Because it gets loud and like scary. And that's when people react. And usually when it's a quiet, people are quieter, but for this movie it didn't really do any of that, so I think people were just like, I'm talking the whole time.
Well, not only that, and so it's when it's that quiet. I mean, you could hear so much ambience noise
Yeah.
at that time. So it's like people digging in the popcorn bucket, or like they're digging in their bag for like forever for
What
something.
was that? That was like 20 minutes of somebody digging through their bag. Oh my god. I mean, maybe it's the theater's fault. Maybe the theater needed to turn up their speakers. I don't know how that works.
I don't know, but I'm just gonna say, like, I I was so checked out from like the time, and then by the time it actually did pick up, I was just so unengaged from the
Yeah.
movie that I I knew what was going on, but emotionally, mentally, or
Yeah.
whatever, I just was not engaging with what was in front of me
It
anymore.
it was a very odd feeling. It was like, because I remember the specific moment where because I never really feel this way in the theater, at least, is like I was sitting there and I was watching like three characters walk and they were talking and I was like, I know what's going on, but I don't care. And it's like I don't really have a feeling for this movie like at all. Like it's so weird. I
I mean, we were, I think all three of us, because your fiance attended with us. I think at one point we were, I think we would have all left at a certain point if we were all like right on that edge of like, let's just
Yeah,
leave.
exactly. But we are podcasters and podcasters do not give up. No, more like it was just time constraints. And it's like, well, we're here. We just got to finish this thing out. And it's only an hour, 30 minutes, but God, it felt like a long hour, 30 minutes.
Well, here's the thing though, the hour went by very fast because I was so angry the whole time. But because I remember like I remember like the hour was an hour was up, and because I looked at my phone, and you're like, hey, like, because at this point we started talking to each other because everyone else was talking, so who gives
Yeah,
a at that point, honestly.
exactly.
But we were just kind of like, hey, should we leave? And I'm like, well, it's been an hour, there's only 30 minutes left, but oh my god, that last 30 minutes felt like an
No,
hour.
no. See, it's that complex where you check the time, and that's when like everything gets slow. I was like, okay, 30 minutes. I can make it through 30 minutes, but I don't know. I do think it kind of was the movie at this point as well, too. I do
Yeah.
want to get into the movie because I know we had a pretty bad experience, and I will admit I do think I have some bias with this movie because I did have a bad theater experience. But from what I got out of it, God, I don't even know. I don't even know where to start with this movie, honestly. Um, it,
Well, before you do that, though, maybe we
yeah.
should start out with the bear joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Throw it at me.
All right. What do you call a bear with no teeth?
What?
A gummy bear.
Oh, like an old bear that needed dentures. Oh God.
What is a bear's favorite drink?
What?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Oh, gee.
All right. One more. What did the teddy bear say after dinner?
What?
I'm stuffed.
These are just cute. I don't know. Bears are cute, I guess. I don't
You
know.
like bear jokes more than lion jokes?
I think so. I think so. Even though my main man is still, that's going to be in my head forever.
All right. I'm sorry. Continue into the plot of Cocaine Bear.
Yes. So there is cocaine being dropped in the skies from Pablo Escobar. And this is based off a true story, by the way, where they're in Lexington, Kentucky. A bunch of cocaine got dropped in a national park, and a bear ate a bunch of the cocaine. That's pretty much the similarities. I did read into the real thing. The bear actually didn't kill anybody and OD'd and died. And now the bear is stuffed and is in a mall in Kentucky. So you can go visit the actual cocaine bear and take pictures with it.
Now, if they cut open the bear, is there still remnants of cocaine in there?
Brian, we're about to have a heist. We're about to go take the cocaine back from the bear. But no, I don't think so. Not for all the listeners out there. I don't think so. But in this movie, the bear eats the cocaine. He gets addicted and he goes crazy. Is it a he or a she? Is it a she?
It's a she.
It's a she. I've been misgendering.
Nathan, how could you forget the famous line for the movie when the bear falls on top of the guy and he says, "It's a girl. How do you know? Because its vagina is in my ear."
Yeah, but here's the thing. That line makes no sense because his head is like at the bear's neck level. And
I did not. Yeah, even in the theater, I'm like, huh? Like the bear. Like imagine like you literally fall on top of somebody and you're both like at head level. It's like,
yeah.
Like
this guy's
nobody's the bear's pelvis was nowhere near the guy's head.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there where the disconnect, because the editor Elizabeth thinks somebody should have seen this scene and been like, yeah, that's wrong. I'm pretty sure bears don't have vaginas in their neck, do they? I mean, I guess I don't know bear anatomy that well, but I doubt it. But
you barely know it.
That's pretty good. That's a good one. But if you were confused that Coke Bear wasn't about the Coca-Cola polar bears, this is a brown bear.
That's why there were kids there. They thought they saw cocaine bear. They thought Coke Bear. Oh,
mommy,
the Coca-Cola bear.
I love the polar bears. I like when they drink the Coca-Cola. Yeah, and this one's just scary.
You mentioned like the bear does cocaine, and the bear obviously has some sort of side effects. It doesn't really act any different than like a ravenous bear, honestly. But there's a scene too where like these kids decide to skip school and they find a brick of cocaine, and they're like, oh, let's try it, and they stick like a large amount of cocaine in their mouth, and they just eat it that way, which can still get you high, and they don't have any side effects really. Like these little tiny children have just like ingest like a whole mouthful of cocaine, and they're just like, oh, I'm fine.
It's almost like the scene from Scarface where he just like puts his face right into it. Like it's a lot in their mouth. And yeah, I mean, there's jokes about it later that are kind of funny where the kid's like talking to the mom, and it's just like, well, if I did a little coke, do you think my parents would be upset at me? And like all that. It's silly. But yeah, why do they not react to it in any way? Because you're still putting it in your bloodstream. It's not going to be as direct, but I don't know.
I mean, they could have done something like where the kids are acting crazy or something like that. I don't know, but I would have liked to have seen. There could have been some type of comedy maybe there.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there would be something funny there, but I think where the movie really fumbles it for me is that it has 3 plot lines. Well, kind of 2. It has 3 in the beginning, but it kind of ends. But like the movie branches off, and I don't think you really spend enough time with either side of it, because there's also 2 dudes, one played by O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son, and then Alden, I think it's Aaron Rich is his name, Han Solo, the new Han Solo.
Who's Han Solo?
I don't know, but that's on his IMDb. So, and yeah, so yeah.
Okay.
Yes. But they are looking for the drugs for their dad, for Alden's dad there, who's played by Ray Liotta in his last ever role.
Can you believe it? What a role to end on.
Yeah.
where he's
And
kicking bears in the face, little
yeah,
tiny cubs in
there's
the
a
face.
I don't know. For me, I did not like that scene at all. There's little CGI cubs, and Ray Liotta just kicks them and hits them with the butt of a gun, and these little babies that aren't even hurting him. I was like, this is
Yeah,
just
the babies are like
yeah, like it's some CGI man had to edit.
oh, no, you made the joke after we left the theater. They're like, okay, Ray, like this is the part where you like pretend these are little bears. You got to kick them in the face.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I need the money. But no, it's very interesting because this plot line, I don't know, I don't think I ever really cared about either plot line. I mean, here's the thing, I say this, but probably don't take it at face value because I also just was really upset during the whole movie. But yeah, I mean, you follow these guys around. They kick some dudes' asses in a bathroom, and
yeah, like these teenage muggers, pretty much.
yeah, and then they have a guy lead them to a stash of cocaine. Oh wait, there's another plot line. The cop,
Oh, yeah.
the cop
character with the fancy dog.
Yeah, with the fan, which is kind of funny. I thought it was kind of a weird, funny line at the very beginning, where like his partner is like, I have a dog at home, and he's like, does he play fetch? Is he a good dog? Because my dog doesn't play fetch. It was kind of silly.
There was, I don't know. I didn't feel like even like the payoff for that story. Like I didn't, because like the cop and guy in this movie, he's like a good guy. He's not.
Yeah, he's a detective, or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, he's trying to do it, and spoilers for Cocaine Bear, which is a current movie. So if you're here, this is spoilers for a current movie. They're not a 50-year-old movie like we normally do.
Yeah. So if you do want to see this, you can stop it and you can come back.
But anyway, he ends up dying, and and you think like his partner is gonna like take care of the dog, like, oh well, because turns out, spoilers, his partner was in on the deal. She's working with the cartel, which is so unnecessary. Just like I did not care a thing. I'm like, why? Like they could have easily just made her like just like, oh, I'm the I'm still gonna take you guys down or whatever. But
yeah,
she never.
Or been like, oh, they somehow were like, hey, we'll give you a little bit of money if you help us out. And she was like, she got swayed by that. But no, it makes it like this dumb, like she was in on it the whole time kind of deal, which is like you said, unnecessary.
Right. But then though, she like bails like almost pretty right fast. Away.
No, a very pointless character, honestly.
Right. So like she does the betrayal, and he's like, oh my God, like, why? And then he dies, and then they're like, okay, we got to go get our cocaine from the bear, and then they go travel the bear, and she's like, I'm not going in that cave, and then she just leaves.
Yeah, she's out, and I mean, Ray Liotta's like, I'll kill you if you leave, and then O'Shea Jackson is just like, okay, I'll cover up. For some reason, he is like,
he cares about this character for some reason, even though he has zero interactions with her up until this point.
And he's the character. So Alden there, he is the character that's like, I don't think we should be doing this. This is really dangerous. But the other guy, he's pretty much like, I will do anything. I will shoot this detective to get this cocaine back. Like, but now he has a change of heart at the end of the movie.
Yeah, like O'Shea Jackson's like, he's willing to like murder these kids in a bathroom. He's willing to murder this cop. He's willing to like do whatever he can to get the coke. And but now all of a sudden he is like, I'm a good guy now.
Yeah. For whatever reason, because we got to have somebody likable in this movie. But
oh yeah, and well, I mean, the only other, I guess, likable character is like the mom who decides, like, she tries to go rescue the kids, and she finds one of the kids, but her daughter is, I guess, kidnapped by the bear, or it's weird. Just like the movie from Tuesday, for some reason our main like animal decides to not kill a certain person, and but this one doesn't explain it. It's just like, oh yeah, the bear kidnapped her, and then they just find her in the cave, and it's not really explained, is it? Well, it might have been, to be fair, but
true.
At this point, we were were fuming, but she's in this cave, and she's in the exact same cave where they find the bear is being held up and everything. So it's like, I don't know.
One of the greatest lines of all time, because the Cubs are playing in cocaine and they're covered in white cocaine. The kid has to go, they look like polar bears. Wow.
And I was holding a Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Luckily, we weren't seeing this at Regal, which is a PepsiCo. We saw this at an AMC.
Thank God.
No, shut up.
So like I said, the bear passes out at some point. This is the scene we were talking about where he falls on top of the guy, and they're like messing with the bear at a certain point. And there's somebody in the theater that was like, because they do a close-up on the bear's face, and obviously seeing a movie at least once, a couple of movies in your life, you're thinking in your brain, oh, the bear's gonna wake up, but you wouldn't verbalize that. No, this guy's like yells out, oh my God, the bear's gonna wake up.
Yeah, that's oh God, I don't know how people don't have impulse control, like, because some people during movies, like, I get it if you get shocked or something and you do like oh my God, but like these people out here, like, he's going to wake up. Like, yes, I've seen at least 2 movies before. I've seen a horror movie before. They always wake up.
It's like the equivalent of going to see a slasher movie and somebody is like, oh my God, she's gonna die here. Yes. The killer's gonna show up.
Yes, we've seen it. We've seen the movie.
We know. We all know how a movie works. We've seen multiples.
Yes, it's bad. I couldn't even imagine if Cocaine Bear was your only movie that you've seen.
Well, yeah, we'll get into more of the antics, but anyway, the other like scene that I thought was kind of funny, which I was kind of hoping that we're going to do more of, is Margot Martindale is in this movie, which I actually think she's a great actress, and like I do enjoy the roles that I've seen her in.
She's been in so much.
And if I was going to pinpoint a character that I was kind of thinking they were going to do something with, I thought it was going to be her. I thought she was going to be kind of a main character type, but that whole forest ranger storyline just kind of ends. No, there was a 4th storyline going on where like Margot Martindale was she was a forest ranger, but she was like kind of having the hots for Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family is in this movie. And he is just like, I don't even know what his character was because he's not in this movie for so long. Like he's barely in it.
Yes.
And then he gets mauled, and then at a certain point, like Margot Martindale gets swiped by the bear. And what I thought was going to happen is that Margot Martindale's character was going to be kind of like increasingly like more damage was going to happen to her, and she was just going to get kind of banged up, and she was going to kind of show up at the very end to kind of save the day type of thing. That's what I had in my mind. But she shows up to the ranger station, EMT shows up. That was probably the best scene in the movie, I guess, is when
when these like just EMT show up and there's just a bunch of dead bodies everywhere.
There's a bunch of dead bodies. It looks like a horror movie just happened, and the bear is like locked in a room. And the bear jumps out at the EMT, and then the EMT's like, the bear like chases down the ambulance and mauls everybody in the ambulance, and then Margot Martindale's character flies out and lands face first
and
onto the pavement.
Her face skids on the ground. It's actually pretty gruesome. This movie is a gruesome movie, and I seriously was thinking like, wow, these kids are going to be messed up. If I was young and I saw that messed me up.
Well, spoiler alert, at the very end of the movie, the kids walk by Margot Martindale's dead body and they're like, ew. And they have no compassion, or like the mom's just like, all right, kids, don't look.
Yeah, don't look. It's just a dead body. And most movies they would depict that as like they're vomiting or something, but no, they're just walk right past it.
Yeah. By the way, this movie is also set in the 80s.
Yeah.
Would you, other than a couple of the fashion choices, I wouldn't think it was the 80s.
No, it doesn't do a good job of setting up like the 80s. of it. I wouldn't say, except for maybe some like they try playing 80s music when they can, but it's set in the forest.
Like they play Jane's Addiction or whatever that song is, Jefferson Starship.
Yeah. I forget, but they just play they play just 80s music. I don't know. It doesn't do a good job of that, which if you're doing an 80s angle, play up the 80s angle. That's always really fun to do. Carrie,
I mean, the movie's called Cocaine Bear, so you figure like I got to make this movie just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Carrie Russell, who I guess is kind of the star of this movie, has an 80s haircut,
and she wears a tracksuit.
Yeah. Talk about boring. And I mean, Carrie Russell's usually fine, but that character is just like, she's not even really that funny. She's just kind of a mom, and I want to protect my daughter kind of deal.
Yeah, she doesn't really get any good moments in here.
No, and God, the end of this movie is I knew this wasn't like a feeling that I had because I was just angry. I couldn't see the movie. It was so dark. The end of the movie takes place in a cave at night, and there's the bear there, Ray Liotta, the whole gang's there. Ray Liotta is about to shoot 2 children and a mom, and it's so dark I couldn't see, and it was just like, it was ugly. It was very ugly to watch in the end.
I didn't like it because I don't know. I was legitimately like questioning my vision. I was like, am I like, is it me or like, because I can barely see what's going on. And luckily, when you said that, I was like, okay,
I'm not blind.
I'm not going blind, but
Mr. Beast could help you.
Maybe last episode, but anyway, I don't know. I think that it was more so just to cover up the CGI. Maybe like, oh, well, maybe if we make it look dark, they won't see how bad these CGI cubs look or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I mean, the CGI is not great in this. I mean, I'm not expecting great CGI from like a horror comedy. So, but yeah, I think you're right. There was so much CG at the end because there were a bear and the 2 cubs. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And apparently the cocaine works like spinach, like for Popeye for the bear.
Yeah, you just stay. Oh, there is a really funny scene where a bear does snort cocaine off of a dead body, like an actual human snorts it. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. And it just kind of ends. The bear lives, and it's fine. Everything's fine. Ray Liotta dies, and then
he does.
Ray Liotta's son gets the fancy dog for some reason because the lady's like, "Here you go." And he's just like, "Okay, I guess this is my dog now."
Yeah, and after this horrible tragedy, the mom and 2 kids are walking off, and the cops just pass by them as they drive to the scene of the crime, and they're next to a dead body when they do this, and they're just like, "Oh, they can just walk away."
Yeah, the cops don't say anything. They're like, excuse me, what are you doing here? This is an active crime scene, or what?
You gotta go. Even though we can pinpoint you here at the crime scene.
Yeah. So other incidents I should say in the movie theater, so we can get back to that a little bit. But like I said, the whole theater was talking. We were sat like maybe 3 rows away from the very most front row.
Yeah.
And totally fine. You could see it. There was a couple to my right. They were talking throughout the whole movie. They came in late, and that's already like a big red flag because it's always like, if they come in late, they clearly don't care about the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was an older couple, the couple that was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna wake up." That they were talking constantly, like at full volume.
Yeah. God, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's just making me angry. There's the people digging for popcorn, which I mean, food noises are going to happen in every single movie, but like these people, I swear they had their fists deep in the popcorn and they just wanted to churn it the whole time.
I know. And then the other instance was, like you said, the whole family with the child. And just to show you how much we cared about it, first you went and you told somebody,
and nothing happened.
People talking, nothing happened. your fiance got mad and went outside to find somebody. She couldn't even find somebody to complain to.
Yep.
And and then finally, like I was just like absolutely like fuming at this point. And I'm like, screw it. And I got up and I just like looked at him direct. I went right to him like, hey, can you guys stop talking? I could hear you all the way in the front row. And they just like stare at me like blankly, like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you talking to us? Type of thing.
Yeah, like I don't like, they literally
Like,
didn't care.
like I'm the one annoying them or something, or like I look crazy for doing that.
Well, that's the problem. I really don't understand that, because movie ticket prices, I mean, I pay for like AMC stubs, so I pay monthly price, but most people in there spent like what, $13 a ticket to go see this movie, and it's like a disregard to everybody else in the theater that spent money to just go in there and talk over the movie.
Well, assuming they actually paid to watch this movie and they
That's
didn't
true.
sneak in, there was what, 4 or 5 people in that group. So it was, if they did, assuming they did, they probably paid like what, like $70 or something or more.
Include popcorn, drinks, and candy as well. Like throw that in, and it's just like you're in the $100 range now.
Yeah. So like, if you're paying that much money for it, then you'd think that they would have to like, you're like, oh, okay, well, I've spent all this money. Let me enjoy this time. Because even for me, when I spend $20 for, or 15 or whatever for a ticket, and then I get a drink, at this point I'm $20 in, I want to enjoy this to the full extent because I paid for it, type of thing. If I wanted to just sit on my phone or like have funny commentary, I would just watch it at home and on Netflix or whatever and wait for the
because like, why go to the theater if you're going to do that? Because like the point of the theater is to see it on the big screen, kind of like get like into the movie, because all you see is the movie, no distractions, and all you hear is the movie. Why pay all that money just to talk and like make comments during the whole thing? You can do that at home for much cheaper.
The only time I would have thought it was appropriate is if nobody else was in the theater, like it was like a totally dead showing. And
Yeah,
it was
that's
like
fine.
And it was just us in there, then I'd be like, all right, we can make this a little fun. But
yeah, no, and I've had that happen before, and that's fine because you're alone. But
yeah,
I think like you got to have some respect for other people when you're in the theater with them.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that's like just drives me up a wall. And like I said, by the time the movie was over, I was just so disengaged from the whole thing that the whole movie kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But I think this is a first for me. I don't think it's fair to give this movie a rating at this point.
Yeah, I actually really want to revisit this movie because I need an actual like full opinion on it, because my opinion on it is just negative, and I don't know if it's the movie or I mean, I know the experience worked its way into that. So unfortunately for you folks out there on the fence about going to see this in the theater, I don't have a concrete answer.
I really wish I could give you an answer. I mean, if you put a gun to my head right now and made me choose, I would say that I don't recommend it, but that's not really fair to the movie, to be quite honest. And because I could have very well been swayed by the theater experience. And I think we're going to have to maybe at some point, whenever this does become available on streaming or whatever, maybe like in a year or so, give it some time to breathe. Then we can kind of go back and maybe do this as a redo episode. I think this would be very appropriate. But hopefully you got a lot of great content from us, just like complaining about other people.
Yeah, if you like this, we have like 2 episodes over on the Patreon just about movie talkers. So.
Yeah, there's so many, and I mean, I've got a lot of other stories, but I don't want to waste any more of your time. But if you want to go hear some more, go check out the Patreon.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that's it for now. Hey, go see it anyway. Go support the cinema. Go give it some money.
Exactly, and hopefully you have a much better experience than
buy out all the theater seats, and then you'll have a great time. But
It's the only
Anyway,
way to have a good time at the theater.
but all right. But anyway, Nathan, we have a very special week because I don't know, we got a very big holiday coming up. Normally on this podcast, we talk about movies that we haven't seen or movies that we had an emotional attachment to, something that kind of fits within that grime or something that you'd go see at a drive-in or something, like I said, that we're very nostalgic for. But
Yeah.
Nathan, I think now, since next Saturday is going to be April Fool's Day, Nathan. So we're flipping the script. We're going to be picking two movies that we would never ever talk about on this podcast. Two movies that normally would not fit the criteria of this podcast. So we're going to be doing movies that, is it going to be a new movie? Is it a family movie? Is it a drama? What is it? Is it a romance movie? Who knows? That's what it's going to be. But Nathan, why don't you hit me with my very first April Fool's Day joke for Tuesday?
All right. So the joke's on you, Ryan, because we are going to be covering The Fault in Our Stars from 2013. And that is streaming over on HBO Max.
Cannot wait whatsoever. I see no fault in that choice. So
none at all.
But anyway, if you have any other wacky picks you'd like us to talk about, or if you just want to tell us like what idiots we were for not understanding the plot to Cocaine Bear, like telling us, hey, it's okay to talk during the movie, please tell us at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at DIADFpod. And once again, don't forget to follow us on the Patreon at patreon.com/driveindoublefeaturepodcast. But, oh my God, his eyes are opening. Until next time.